a channel full of knowledge and wisdom. I hope you liked the previous videos and also you have subscribed our channel for the pop-ups and the new uploaded videos. Today I am standing in front of you with another poem from Standard 10th textbook, and the name of the poem is Tiger in the Zoo. Before I proceed with the poem, let's read what is this poem about. This poem contrasts a tiger in the zoo with the tiger in its natural habitat. The poem moves from the zoo to the jungle and back again to the zoo. So this poem is a contrast. It is contradicting with each other. Here the tiger is in the zoo, and in certain stanzas the tiger is in its natural habitat, that is jungle. The poem moves from the zoo to the jungle and from jungle back to the zoo. So some stanzas are about the activities the tiger does in the zoo and some of the activities he would do if he was there in his natural habitat. So to begin with, I'll read the poem. You can see the poem on your screen as well. He stalks in his vivid strips the few steps of his cage, on pad of velvet quiet in his quiet rage. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through the long grass, near the water hose where the plump deer pass. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws terrorizing the village. But he is locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. So, if you have paid proper attention to my reading, you will definitely come to know which are the activities which the tiger is doing in the zoo and which are the activities he is doing in the natural habitat. Now, I will start with the explanation. Okay. So, begin with the first stanza. The poet says, the tiger stalks in his vivid strips. Okay, stalks means moves with his vivid strips. Vivid strip means brightly colored strips which were there on the body of the tiger. The few steps of the cage. Now, why does a tiger moves few steps of the cage? As you all know, the cage is very small. The place is restricted. So that's why it is said he moves few steps of the cage, because the cage is very small. It is not easy for him to move for more place over there. On pads of velvet quiet in his quiet rage. Okay, on pads of velvet quiet. Now what does pads means here? Pads means the paws of the tiger, okay, and the poet has compared them to the velvet. Now why did he compare it with the velvet? Because the softness. You cannot make the footsteps, sound of the footsteps, because they are velvety, they are very soft. As you know, the tiger is one of the animals belonging to the cat family. We have the cat in our house. When the cat enters, we can't make out the footsteps. Same way, it is said that with his pad on a velvet quiet. Now quiet because there is no sound of the tiger's footstep. That's why the poet says pads of the velvet quiet with his quiet rage. Now what is rage? Rage means anger. The tiger is very angry because he is locked behind this small cage. Who would like to stay in a cage? Me or you? Now lockdown is going on. It was going on and we were feeling like we were put in a cage, and we were feeling when this lockdown will come to an end, when we will move freely. and we were feeling frustrated, irritated, sitting at home because we were not in a habit. Same thing you apply with the tiger. He was getting irritated. He was getting very angry. So he was just pacing in the small cage. Pacing means moving from one side to another. Okay, with few steps of the cage. Again, I'll tell you few steps means why few steps, because the cage is very small. On the pad of velvet quiet because it doesn't make any sound of the footsteps of the tiger. Quiet rage means anger. Now he cannot show his anger. What is the point of showing his anger in the cage? So he is quiet. He is angry because he is not free. Let's move to the next stanza. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through the long grass near the water holes where the plump deer pass. Now, in the first stanza, you know very well where is the tiger? Yes, you are absolutely right. The tiger is in the cage. Now, in the second stanza, if you read, he should be lurking in a shadow, sliding through the long grass. Now, sliding through the long grass near the water holes. These are the sentences in this stanza which makes us aware the poet want to tell us this stanza that how the tiger would feel if he was outside the cage in his natural habitat. If he was in his natural habitat, he should be lurking in shadow. Now what do you mean by lurking? Lurking means to be hidden as to wait for your prey. Okay, so here the tiger, you must have watched on Discovery Channel or Animal Planet how the tigers and the other animals wait and sit there for their prey. So here lurking means to hide oneself and wait for your prey. Prey means what? Food of the animals. And once he sees the prey, he would be sliding through the long grass. Now sliding means moving without being noticed. Now why moving without being noticed is very important? Because his prey should not come to know that there is a tiger behind there. Otherwise the prey would run away. The way sometimes if we do something wrong or we want to move out of the house, and then when we want to enter without the knowledge of our parents, what we will be doing? We will be sliding. Okay, same way the tiger also would slide through the long grass near the water holes. Now why only water holes? Because most of the animals come to quench their thirst over there. So he would go there near the water holes where the plump deer pass. So he would catch this deer. Now what do you mean by the word plump? Plump means hefty. Okay, fat one, having lot of fats. Okay, so he would get lot of the meat to eat. So he would wait there to the long grass, waiting for the plump deer to pass. So what does the poet want to say here? The poet want to say that in his actual life, a tiger is to live in a jungle where he could catch his prey and eat it. But tiger is in the cage and cannot do it so. I hope these both stanzas are clear to you all. Now let's move to the next stanza. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws terrorizing the villages. Okay, now again he should be. Actually, he should be means what? The actual place of the tiger is his natural habitat and not the cage. So he should be snarling around houses. Now what do you mean by snarling? The growling sound. As you can see in the picture of the tiger on your screen, okay, the tiger is snarling, growling, making a warning sound for what? At where he is making the sound? At the jungle's edge. Edge means where the jungle comes to an end and the village area starts. So border, edge. So the tiger comes out at the edge of the jungle and there he snarls around. He makes the growling sound. Now baring his white fangs. Now what do you mean by baring? Baring means uncovered. His white fangs. Fangs means on the screen you can see the sharp tooth of the tiger sideways. That's called as fangs. So here he would show his fangs, which looks very terrorizing, very horrible. That means if he catch hold of anything with his fangs, and that would never survive again. So he would show these to the villagers and terrorize them. Terrorize them means what? Make them scared. So what does the poet want to tell us here? That he would terrorize the people with his sharp tooth and claws, and that this would create fear among the people living in the villages. So त्यांच्या वाट्याकानी कोण वचपाचो ना. No one would go to their way. Understood? I hope this stanza is also clear to you all. Moving further, but the tragedy with the tiger is he is locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. But the thing is, he cannot terrorize the villagers, he cannot hide behind the long grass, nor he can catch the plump deer, which would become his prey, because he is locked in a concrete cell. Now what does concrete cell means? The cage which is made up of concrete, bricks and stones and cement. So all his power is locked behind that concrete cell, and all his strength is now behind the bars. As you can see in the picture, the tiger is in the cage behind the bars. Bars means in the cage. Stalking the length of his cage. Again the word stalk has come again. Stalking means moving. So again he is restricted to that particular area. He is ignoring the visitors. He is not bothered who has come to see me, because he is missing his good old life. Good old life which he enjoyed when he was in his natural habitat. Now he says that tiger is confined in a strong cell which is made up of strong building and material. He never tried to terrorize the visitors. Now why? See, if he was in the jungle, he would go to the edge of the jungle and he would terrorize the villagers. But here, does he terrorize the visitors? No, he doesn't terrorize the visitors, because his power is restricted. It is behind the cage. It is behind the bar. So all the visitors know very well the tiger cannot do anything, and tiger himself knows very well he cannot do anything to the visitors. Therefore, he never tries to terrorize the visitors, as he cannot attack them. Moving towards the last stanza of this poem. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. Now he doesn't have anything to do, so he hears the last voice at night. Now what is the last voice here? Last voice of the patrolling car. Now what does this patrolling car means? Patrolling cars means the patrolling cars are to guard or to vigil. Vigil means to keep a watch. Now 100 vehicle of the police you must have seen. Always they move around with their jeep, with that sumo 100. What does they do? Simply they move around? No. They keep a watch. What is going on in that particular area? Whether the things are going on well. So here he hears the sound of that car, patrolling car, because everyone has gone to sleep or taking rest, and only the patrolling car sound he can hear. That is the last sound at night which he hears, and stares at with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. And staring means what? Looking continuously at a particular place. That is called as staring. So he stares with his brilliant eyes. Now why the poet has said the tiger's eyes are brilliant? Why? Because the shining nature of the eyes the poet has grasped and put here. At night, if you see the eyes of the animal, they are shining. So the poet says he is staring at the sky with his brilliant eyes. Okay, he is looking at the stars, which are also brilliant. Stars are sparkling, right? They are shining. Same way, the eyes of the tiger is also sparkling. It is shining. So he looks at the stars and thinks about his good old days and good old memories, how he would enjoy with his family and how he would enjoy in his natural habitat. Here in the last stanza, he tries to divert his attention, okay, diverts his thoughts and tries to see at the sky. Now we have come to an end of this poem, the explanation of the poem. So here in this poem, as we all know, the poem is a contradiction. Okay, the poet has contradicted the tiger in the zoo and the tiger in the natural habitat. If you see on the screen, you will find the difference between which are the words which distinguishes the tiger when the tiger is in the zoo and the tiger is in the natural habitat. When the tiger is in the zoo, he stalks with his quiet rage, ignoring visitors. He hears the last sound of the patrolling cars. When the tiger is in the zoo, he does all these things, right? And when the tiger is in the natural habitat, what he will be doing? Lurking in the shadow, catching his own prey, that is the plum deer. He would go at the edge of the jungle and terrorize the villagers, showing his fangs and claws. So these are the different words which distinguishes the tiger's habits or qualities, where the tiger is in the zoo and tiger is in the natural habitat. So the tiger in the zoo and the summary of this poem. In this poem, that describes the beauty of the tiger walking in the cage with the vivid strips. Okay, why this vivid differently colored strips are put over here? To show the beauty of the tiger. With the soft and velvet paws, that is not to make any sound, doesn't make any sound. The poet says that if the tiger was not confined to the zoo, confined means restricted to the zoo, he would have been moving out in the jungle, terrorizing the villagers, okay, residents who are residing in that particular village. But now all his power is confined and locked behind that concrete cell. So the poet says he cannot do anything. He doesn't try to terrorize the villagers as well. Why? Because he knows very well that his power is locked behind that concrete cell. He says that during night, he is all alone and he hears the last sound of the patrolling cars, the vehicle of the police, and looks at the stars. The cage life has totally changed tiger's personality. The poet is trying to say that the animal which is famous for its fearlessness and freedom is confined and sad due to the human beings who wants to derive pleasure by looking at him in the zoo cage. So here we find the change in the personality of the tiger. How the tiger, we take the name of the tiger, oh God, we get scared. But to see the tiger in the cage, we don't get scared. So we human beings, for our pleasure, we have brought these animals in the cage and we want them to entertain them for ourselves. So this is what the poet wants to convey through this poem, Tiger in the Zoo. Now let's move to the examination point of view. Now, as you can see the poem on the screen, he talks in his vivid strips. So which figure of speech it is? Yes, absolutely right. Sir and sir, stalks and strips. Sir sound is repeated. So it is alliteration. Yes, it is alliteration. Please note down on your textbooks or notebooks because this type of questions are being asked in the examination. Now next stanza you see, first line. He should be lurking in shadow. Again the sh sound is repeated. He should be lurking in shadow. Sh sound is repeated. So again when the sound is repeated more than once, okay, that is alliteration. So again here it is alliteration. The last line of the same stanza, where the plump deer pass. P pa sound is repeated, right? So again it is alliteration. So most of the things, most of the figures of speeches in this poem are alliteration. Now the next stanza you see, he should be snarling around houses. Now what does he means here? Correct? He means tiger. Please write here. Sometimes the 1 mark question is being asked, stanza, and some questions in that it is asked. What does he signify? So he means the tiger. Now fourth stanza and the second line. His strength behind bars. B, b. B, b sound is repeated, right? B, b sound is repeated. So again it is alliteration. Last stanza, first line. He hears. Her sound is repeated. So again it is alliteration. The last 2 lines of the last stanza. And stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. The word brilliant is repeated more than once. So that's why figure of speech here is repetition. R-E-P-E-T-I-T-I-O-N. You have to be very thorough with these spellings, because if you don't write correct spellings, your half mark will be chopped over here. Because many a time children do R-E-P-E-T-A-T-I-O-N, which is wrong. T-I-T-I-O-N is the correct spelling. Okay. Now here you see one sentence in the third stanza. But he is locked in a concrete cell. See is there over there, but it doesn't have any figure of speech. Now why it doesn't have any figure of speech? Because pronunciation, you see. Concrete cell. K and s sound. So sound is not repeated. The letter is repeated, but the sound is not repeated. That's why it does not have any figure of speech over here. It does not have alliteration over here. So you have to pay attention to the sound and not the letters. Okay? I hope the poem is very much clear, and what the idea the poet want to tell us through this poem is, don't bring the animals to the cage. Let them enjoy the same freedom what we do, what we like. Same enjoyment let them have in their natural habitat. I hope everyone will imbibe this thing in your life as well. Thank you for your patience listening.